So this coffee shop here where we were the other day next to our apartment, today she confirmed that these cookies are vegan. So we bought half a kilos, so it's like 10 euros a kilo, plus we get like a double espresso for 150, which is not that bad. And plus she gave us like a bottle of water along with the coffee. The other way they didn't, so it's pretty cool. And the lady here was pretty friendly. She spoke English, so it was like a younger lady, different lady than the other day. So this is so far probably like the best coffee shop we've ever been. Today we stopped here in the stop of Omonia here in Greece, Athens. And you can tell right away that's a different area, more run down, more sketchy people. Stinks bad already. There was already like, you know, some people checking if everybody had their tickets, blah blah blah. Obviously it's like Sunday afternoon, so there's still like a lot of people. Tourists. I think this one is a kind of a tourist square, and I don't know if it's famous for like nightlife or, you know, kind of nightly transactions, so to speak. Obviously it's not as touristy as the acropolis. Obviously people who go to the acropolis are probably different kind of people, who knows. It definitely looks more like you know, central neighborhood, but compared to the one where we're staying, it's definitely more noisy, more crowded. It's definitely more action going on, but still this area seems more run down. But that's how it looks like, pretty much behind me. And some like traffic going on.
Transfer places and
yeah, money transfer places, probably people transfer, who knows, all kinds of transfers, and mind transfers.
like a truck with like shady packages.
Yeah, there's a truck with shady packages. Oh, it's cool. That's how it can get like in those kind of more real neighborhoods. In fact, this one is a little bit more like dirtier than other ones, but still I would say it's not dangerous at all. There's like, you know, local people, old people, you know, people from the neighborhood. So obviously I have no clue how the neighborhood transforms at night, but still so far it seems pretty normal and regular. Oh, it's cool. Apparently today there's like a market or something. There's a lot of people around, way sketchier people. Seems more, Stacy was saying it looks more like India than Greece, but a lot of garbage on the floor, a lot of people here. Looks like there's some like gypsies selling stuff. In a sense we are also gypsies when we're traveling, so there's some like stuff passing hands like there's no tomorrow. Don't know exactly what it is. Street sellers. Yeah, these are like definitely gypsies selling clothes and regular shops, and then just like a few meters away and then it's almost over. It's like a tornado, like a market tornado. And then here you have like shoe sellers and you know, clothing. Then we're going to money transfer, typical in these areas. And then we're going down here. We don't know exactly where we're going, but still during the day I would say everywhere is pretty safe. They're just like, you know, maybe like a drunk person, you know, homeless or people who are not 100% in their minds, but I wouldn't say it's dangerous during the day. During the night, probably it's way sketchier. So just be, use common sense. And usually, if you mind your own business, everything should be fine. And if people approach you, you just go away pretty much. Anyhow, during the day, there's no weird stuff going on, but it's always better that you keep it to yourself. Even this street here seems like way sketchier than the other one. There's definitely people on drugs, even during the day. Homeless people, a lot of garbage. So, I mean, in the end, we're around with a smartphone, but in some areas, even if you pop out a camera or stuff like that, just be careful because not everybody may like. Yeah, the street here was pretty full of drug addicts. Not everybody may like you going around with a camera, but when you have a phone and you're talking like I'm talking, I mean, they don't know what you're doing. You may be talking to your grandma or whatever. But yeah, still compared to other parts of the world, other big cities is like Disneyland, obviously. I mean, we're walking around and, there's people from all over the world. And then here you see just like another main street is just different. It's probably like more tourists and wider street. This one, I don't know if it's like a restaurant. Maybe it's a more upscale restaurant. You see there's like all tourists outside of here and like literally like a few steps on the other direction where we just came from. I would say like 80% of the people on that street were like on drugs. But I mean, it's a big city. There's definitely sketchy areas. But usually people on drugs are just on drugs and not. I guess they're so high that they're almost harmless because they don't even know where they are, but still, it's better not to hang out those areas. And in the end, we're just like a couple of stops away from the Acropolis. That's a totally different story. So, and this is how it looks like here. And this is Constantino streets or something like that.
So we're just walking around the streets of Athens right now. We're in the tourist area near the Acropolis, and we're just reflecting on how these shops are compared to the bazaar of what we saw in Istanbul. And so far, from like what we can see, it almost seems like more authentic, even though like many things are probably made in China. Also here, we notice like many more artists, like painting or making their own jewelry, or a lot of these like used shops, like the antique shops, like selling vases and rings and pictures, like almost like they cleaned out their basement and they're coming up here to sell their things. So what would you say about this, Lenny?
Yeah, it seems like obviously it's not a bazaar. It's probably a mix between like a street market and a second-hand stuff market, but it seems like more interesting, almost more authentic. So it's still cool to see, still cool to take a walk through it and see what they have.
So we just walked down this entire street here. We came from Tiseo, the metro stop of Tiseo, and then we came across the street, like flea market. So everything in there was like the flea market. And Agora is right next to this metro stop of, I believe, Monasteraki. But I'm not sure, I can't see the name, and since we came by foot, I'm not sure which stop it is, but it's the stop right outside the entrance to the ancient city of Agora, and the acropolis is up on top.
So Stacia was saying that, you know, a few minutes ago we were like two subway or metro stops from here. There was a totally different vibe. Here, you know, you have like families, still people from all over the world, but different kinds of people on vacation, people with kids, and, you know, strolling through the park, going to restaurant, visiting the acropolis up there. But you know, smells of jasmine instead of like stinky people and litter and trash, but still like probably like half a mile away, like by foot, but still there's a totally different layer of society. What were you saying about this, Stacy?
No, it's just like weird how you can just see like within even a kilometer difference, like two different worlds that are like simultaneously existing. One that seems to like move forward with like semi kind of normalcy, like people just walking around enjoying the day and not having so many worries and just like going about their business. And then the other side that is kind of like people are like desperate and like taking scraps from the table and kind of just like trying to exist. And it's always like interesting to reflect what brings people to this kind of like the lowest possible level, that they have chosen that existence, because at the end anyways it's like a kind of a choice. But sometimes our conditions like maybe bring us to the point that we feel choiceless, and we end up in this like situation like we just saw, like 2 metro stops away, of like this desperate kind of low level society.
That sometimes like this difference is really like a thin line, because some of these people, we don't know obviously what happened in their lives, but some of them maybe like consciously chose that life. Some others maybe have, I don't know, maybe they have mental problems like traumas or whatever, but still it's kind of like, you know, sort of fascinating, even if in like not in a good way, when you travel, really to see these two different, totally different worlds pretty much. And we're literally probably like 10 minutes away, just like walking. So what do you think about this?
So I mean, it's just interesting to see how like simultaneously 2 different worlds can exist at the same time. And this is only like these 2 worlds. Think how many other worlds could be existing also at the same time that these 2 worlds are existing.
That's interesting.